Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Reds. Make sure you do smash the likes, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Callum is joining me from Coppish, and we are discussing one person and one person only, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold and what has happened at Liverpool. How have we let this guy go for free? That is the question we are asking in this. Does the club have some responsibility for him going for free, and where do we sit on Trent's movements as well? It came like 2000s Usher on Monday with his Confessions Part 3, telling that he has been cheating us for the last 2 years, and he is off to go with his mistress in the summer. Callum, it was the worst kept secret, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah, it was. It's just annoying that the thing is, even if it's a worst kept secret, when the news is confirmed, it still hurts. It's weird, isn't it? Because we kind of all expected it to happen, but when it does happen, it still hurts. It's a weird feeling. The announcement timing is the one that really annoyed me, but it annoys me even more now that I know why the announcement has been announced now, because it seems as though he wants to go and play in the Club World Cup. And that really frustrates me, because for me, you stayed quiet all season. If you're going to do that, I have no issues with you being quiet all season. But if you're going to be quiet all season, be quiet all season and wait till the season's finished and then make your move. I just feel that part of what he's done, I'm not a fan of. I don't know if he's handled the whole thing well throughout, but I don't also know how much better he could have handled it, because no matter when the news came out, I don't think it would have gone down well.
That's the thing, innit? It's like I said the other day. Look, I think it's better. I think he should have announced it at the start of the season. It's like I don't think the normal sensible fan wouldn't be as angry with it if he did announce it. But there is going to be fans that I think we would be angry about it. But I'm going. It should, at the end of the day, the Liverpool fan, scouser. It makes zero sense to Liverpool's the pinnacle of all Liverpool fans. Me and you will dream of playing for Liverpool, and we wouldn't ever leave Liverpool. I don't think I'd ever leave Liverpool, even if I was offered more money, and that is not the case anyway for this one.
Yeah.
But I just think it's like, but I'm also mature enough and old enough to know that not everyone thinks like you.
And here's the thing, bro. Like, I don't know how old you are. I'm in my 30s. Back when I was a kid, like, the football loyalty and even things like tribalism and stuff, like, I would never, even now in my age, I would never buy like a Barcelona top or a PSG top.
No.
But like, I've got a 6-year-old and he's a Liverpool fan. Obviously, he's got no choice. He's in the house with me, innit? Like, but I know they'll get to a point where he's like, oh, I might want to buy that Barcelona tracksuit or that PSG tracksuit. Now, football's not what it used to be. And I think it's hard for people like myself to understand that, because I'm like, if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm not putting money into another team's pocket, because I could be putting that money into my club, which would hopefully benefit my club in the future. But not everyone thinks like that. And look, for us as Liverpool fans, yeah, playing for Liverpool would be the pinnacle. I'd have thought that about Trent as well, but clearly he has aspirations and personal aspirations. And look, he dropped hints throughout the season. And look, I'll even include myself. I've been oblivious to it in terms of saying he wants to win a Ballon d'Or and he's already been Liverpool captain and stuff like that. History kind of states that if you play for Real Madrid or Barcelona, your chance of winning the Ballon d'Or are a lot higher than if they are for playing for Liverpool. So if his personal aspirations are taking over his club aspirations, then respectfully, he shouldn't be at the club. I don't know if I feel any ill will towards him. I'm annoyed at the situation. I'm disappointed, but I'm not going to boo Trent, and I'm not going to also cheer him. I'm not going to sit here and go, I really hope he kills it in Madrid, but I'm also not going to say, I hope he flops either. I'm indifferent to it. I'm still a Liverpool fan, will always be a Liverpool fan. So that's the only thing that concerns me. And if he's not going to be at the club, then respectfully, you're not part of us anymore. So I don't care, but not in a rude way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you can still hate watch without being like disrespectful about it. I can't stand Real Madrid anyway. So it just added another reason. I still can't believe there were Liverpool fans 2 weeks ago cheering them against Arsenal. I'm never cheering at Real Madrid on against anyone. I don't care. Yeah. We ain't got that rival with Arsenal to do that for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another nail in the coffin for like Real Madrid and my hate for Real Madrid more so. I won't hate on his life. I want Real Madrid not to succeed. Yeah. But in terms of him personally, like, he's given us some of the best times as Liverpool fans, and he has given us all. And I asked the question the other week. People compare it to Gerrard. Oh, Gerrard stayed. But if Gerrard had won everything, you don't know.
We don't.
Would he have stayed?
Yeah, we don't. I think he would have, because he was again from that era with him and Carragher. Again,
Oh,
everyone
wow.
look, Gerrard's my guy in it. Like, he's my favorite footballer of all time. Just not just Liverpool, just of all time. Gerrard's my like footballing, sporting hero. But in terms of that, look, let's be real. Like, Gerrard almost left to go to Chelsea at one stage. So again, very different situation, because Gerrard was frustrated with the direction of the club and the direction of his contract, whereas the direction of the club at the moment with Trent there is we're on the trajectory. We've just won the league. There's a real argument to say that we could retain the league and even go a step further in other competitions as well. So it's a very different situation, but it was never going to go down well if he left Liverpool. It's just, as you said, going to Real Madrid hurts, but it would hurt a lot more if he was going to an English club, and now he's not doing that. So I can live with, I can accept it a little bit more. It's just annoying we're losing a world-class footballer on a free. Losing a world-class, in fact, you know what? I changed that. Losing a world-class footballer, full stop, it hurts. Because we've got money for world-class footballers when they've left, or players on the trajectory to being world-class. And it hurts. It just hurts. And losing a bona fide world-class player, frustrating, especially with the direction we're going in.
It's hard as a fan, right, to see your club. But we as Liverpool fans, yeah, everyone's going to put their club as the top priority. But then, even thinking about Liverpool now, we are obviously joint biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. There's not many teams that you can go to and say, yeah, we'll sort of accept that. So even like Suarez going for Barcelona, or Coutinho go for Barcelona, like, why are you going? Like, Liverpool's massive itself.
Yeah.
But then you don't realise how big Real Madrid and Barcelona are to these other players. But then Trent, it's different. Trent's a scouser, and this is, I think, would he have got the backlash that he've got if he wasn't a scouser? No, not really.
No,
he wouldn't have got anything.
If he was South American, for example, there would be no backlash. No, I changed that. There'll be a backlash, but not half as much as
how he's treated, how he's done. How he's gone about it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But in terms of going in general, not really. I think with Coutinho going, that he faked a back injury, didn't he?
Well, here's the thing. I said this the other day, because everyone's been calling Trent a snake and a rat, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to police anyone and tell you how to feel and stuff, but I remember when Coutinho left, and a year later, people were clamoring and begging for him to come back to Liverpool and saying on Twitter, yeah, let's get him back. And I'm thinking, okay, so this guy in the summer flat out refused to play for Liverpool in the Champions League qualifier, faked an injury, got his teammates from Brazil to speak about it in public, then came back into the team, was sulking, then started playing some good football, then towards December started sulking again, then in January refused to play for the club again, pretended to have a back injury, and left midway through a season where we're battling for top four. If he stayed, could have arguably started climbing the table and maybe finished second. No one's catching City that season. And he left, and people were like still clamoring to have him back and stuff like that. The disrespect from other players is, Trent for me hasn't shown that same disrespect. He's still not handled it well. But I remember Suarez tried to go to Arsenal. Then a year later, he bites Chiellini at the World Cup. He comes out and Cavani speaking about his situation at Liverpool. Then ends up at Barcelona. Then he comes back to Anfield. Kicks Robbo out the game. He celebrates after scoring against us. Like, all these things, I'm like, do we forget what other players have done? But yet we're comparing Trent to those people, and for me, that's not fair.
Yeah, and again, it's coming in with the Scouse thing, isn't it? I think it's the Scouse thing.
I'm not Scouse, so I will never sit here and tell a Scouser how to feel about
how
Scouser going. But I can only speak about like how I feel, because I'm not a Scouser, and I love Scousers. I respect Scousers. You can't, in my opinion, be a Liverpool fan unless you do love Scousers. You know what I mean?
It comes part and parcel, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll never tell them how to feel about it, but I just ask people to be objective in their thinking rather than just following what everyone else is saying.
Funnily enough, I actually did a stream. I did a whole 10-minute, 20-minute video on it saying, what if Trent wasn't Scouser? And that's how would we see Trent right now? And he wouldn't be up there with the Coutinhos or the Suarez in terms of what he has done. I think it is absolutely, like, I don't think he's a snake or rat, but what he has done is very, very snaky.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's an entire snake. People do snaky things without being a snake. Like the whole brother situation, it doesn't sit right with me at all.
No, of course. But here's the killer again. And this is where as fans were hypocrites. A couple years ago, when it seemed like Henderson and Trent were buddying with Jude to try and get him to come to Liverpool, we were good with it. We were making memes, we were laughing, joking, we were putting "Hey Jude" tweets out, and we're getting Bellingham in the summer. And now it seems like it's been reversed. All of a sudden, this is a crime. It should never have happened. Like,
yeah,
we have to start being fair. Like, we have to. And I get there is tribalism in football. There's going to be hypocrisy, but where do we draw the line as fans, man? Like, because
the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy. That is one thing that I will always call out on here, and it is. And we have got Arsenal fans being hypocrites and things like that, but there's a lot in Liverpool fans that are exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
I've seen one like Zubimendi last year.
Yeah,
everyone had got him for being loyal.
Yeah.
And then they expect the same thing from Trent.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you go to a bigger club? Do this, you can win it at Liverpool. But then Trent's got more chance to win it at Real Madrid, or you know what I'm saying? He's going to a bigger club. But initially, if he's doing that way, also the big gap between Sociedad and Liverpool's bigger than Real Madrid and Liverpool. But he has gone to a bigger club, and if we're expecting Zubimendi not to be loyal, then we've got to keep the same energy, and that's what I'll always do. I think that's what a lot of fans forget, and I've seen a lot of revisionism on Trent as well. And another thing is the revisionism, like people saying, "Oh, he can't defend now." It's like, but this shows you how pathetic your opinions are,
bro.
How flip flop you are in terms of opinions. It shows that you lied before. If you think that you can defend far, tell us the truth.
I had this flat out argument the other day, bro. For the last 2 years, I've been really frustrated with Trent having the freedom to invert without having the actual onus and the responsibility to defend. And that's on Klopp, because Klopp spoiled him by doing that for him. I get going forward, he's fantastic, but he still has a job to do defensively, right? It burnt Matip out, it burnt Joe Gomez out, and it was starting to burn out Konate as well. I had Liverpool fans telling me, no, it's design, and who cares if he doesn't make a tackle? And I'm like, I do, because he's putting other players in a situation which has a knock-on effect for the team. I also numerous times said Trent is an average defender, but world-class going forward. But as a defender, he's average. And it's not a lack of ability, it's a lack of application. The amount of times I would see Trent walking back, jogging back.
Yeah.
And I would say to people, Trent is not a slow footballer. And they're like, no, he's not that fast. And I brought up stats showing them Trent's top speed was like 34 kilometers per hour. I'm like, he's one of the fastest people to clock a time in the Premier League this season. But that's him running forward. Running backwards, you probably clock about 20 kilometers an hour. So again, seeing the revisionism now, I'm like, so you guys crashed out on me for being honest, and then now he's left, you're still crashing out on me because I'm holding up a mirror going, you guys were lying about it. So which way is it? Because no one can sit here and say he was a world-class defender, but no one can sit here and say he wasn't a world-class right-back, a world-class footballer. If we're going to do revisionism, we've got to do it better, because I'm even hearing people saying, oh, he could never be a legend and stuff. And I'm like, okay, he was crucial to us winning 2 Premier Leagues, crucial to us winning a Champions League. He's been a first teamer for 8 years now.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, people can't differentiate the difference between someone who's a club legend and loved and someone who's a club legend and not loved. I'll say it as well. I know this might not go down well. I think Michael Owen is a club legend, but he's not loved and never will be because he played for Man United. Trent might fall in that category. Trent might be a club legend, but he might never be loved again because he's left on a free to Real Madrid. But if we can't just take away their accomplishments, because if you take away their personal accomplishments, you're taking away from what we earned and won as a team as well. Can't have it both ways.
That the amount of flip-flopping I've seen in the last week or so is
scary.
And it just sums up how fickle fans are. And that's what I feel I always do on this channel is just be the same energy on everything. And even if it's like Arsenal, it's like I've seen a difference between Arsenal and Liverpool. Like Arsenal fans are complaining about injuries and PGMOL, but Liverpool fans were like last year and the year before. Instead of looking at the club itself, instead of looking in the mirror and say, "Look, FSG didn't do enough in the transfer windows."
Yeah.
Like Arsenal haven't done enough in transfer windows this time. It's on them. Yes. Yeah. Officiating's poor. They have had some bad decisions. Injuries does affect massively, but first and foremost, you should be doing is looking in the mirror And now we're seeing different energy from Liverpool fans against Arsenal fans when you was the exact same like in the last 3-4 years when we were trying to tell you, no, it's us. It's our fault for doing that.
Yeah, doing exactly.
Let's get on Johnny here. Hi, guys. How much can you get from Real Madrid if we release that early, in your opinion? I don't want to release him early because I don't want Real Madrid to get everything they want here.
Yeah, but the most we could probably get is $1 million.
Yeah, it's not even worth it. I want Valverde, and that's it.
Valverde is a swap deal.
Valverde swap deal, and I'm happy with that. Absolutely happy with that. Like a share guy says, Ham.
Throw Camavinga in while you're there. Might as well, innit?
Yeah, fuck it. Rodrigo. Let's make it an Andrew. Yeah. Go on then. Oh, straight swap for Bellingham. How about that?
Yeah.
that would break the internet.
That would, yeah.
But yeah, it's quite clear that Trent has been speaking to Real Madrid for the last 2-3 years, to at least 2 years, I'd say. Bellingham.
Yes.
Do you not think maybe a year then?
So I may be completely wrong on this. I think in the summer, no contracts were offered. I think when the first contract was offered, I don't know if he maybe thought it was disrespectful or felt lowballed. From then, I think that's when it started being a thing and Real Madrid started thinking, well, maybe we've got a chance here. Not just him, though. He would have seen Virgil and Salah not getting offered new contracts. That would probably put some doubt in your mind as well. Remember, Virgil and Salah only signed contracts recently. Up until then, we didn't know if they were staying or going. That would put doubt in their mind.
The thing is with Salah and Van Dijk, I don't think they'd have offered them a contract if they didn't have the seasons that they've had. I think they knew. I think they've only offered him new contracts because they knew the backlash were going to be too much.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think Salah and Virgil would have got new contracts if Trent had signed? Do you think all three of them would have got new deals?
Yeah, I still think Salah and Van Dijk stay.
You do,
regardless.
Because here's the thing, and this is again where, and again, I'm throwing myself in this before anyone thinks I'm just calling people out. I remember being on so many streams and going through so many stuff on Twitter. If you could keep 2 out of the 3 and let one go, who would you keep and who would you let go? 95% of people said they'd keep Virgil, keep Salah, and 95% said they would let Trent go. We kind of got what we've asked for.
Yeah, in that way, it's quite disrespectful, but it's not at the same time because it probably
they're better players.
Our two best players, yeah,
they're better players and they're more important. But we got what we want, and we're still moaning. This is us as fans, though, isn't it? Like this is what we are. So I don't know. It's a tough one, man. I wish he was staying because another thing now is whenever we go for a right back now, the prices are automatically going to go up because everyone knows we need a right back. And I love Conor Bradley, but I can't put all my eggs in the Conor Bradley basket. It just can't happen.
Not with injuries, no.
And then we haven't got anyone else in the squad, in my opinion. Gomez, you can't rely on Gomez for injuries either. I don't want to be sitting here thinking we've got to field Kwanzaa next season at right back.
Callum, you know this club. It's going to be Curtis Jones. He played there once.
Oh yeah,
you know this club. It will be Curtis Jones can cover there. You know how this club works. And I want to talk about I don't know if anyone remembers. I always remember this report. I spoke about it the other night actually. A report in the summer that there was I can't think who it was that wrote it, but it was a report in the summer before Hughes and Edwards came. The club have taken their eye off the Trent situation. I need to find who wrote that. It was a report. I always remember these reports. I always remember something that I'm talking about it all the time. There was a report in the summer that said that Trent kept their eye on the Trent situation regarding his contract. So that for me, that's negligent. For number one, and this is what I want to talk about. This now is that the fact that how has it gone for free? And if we're going to find out that Trent is wanting to go in the last summer, as an owner, say you're the owner of a football club or maybe a business. Your employee wants to go and is running his contract down. What do you do?
So it's very easy to say we should have just sold him in the summer, but there's two things here at play. Firstly, Klopp had just left. We just got a brand new manager in, and we didn't know what slot was going to be at Liverpool. If Trent had left in the same way Michael Owen did when Benitez came, we'd be sitting there going, "Crap, what are we going to do now?" The other side of it is, if a player only wants to go to one club, you can't just sell him because he'll sit there and go, "I'm not leaving." So what you're caught between a rock and a hard place. You can't just. This isn't Football Manager or FIFA where you can just send them over to somewhere else. If Trent is gone, I'm only going Real Madrid. With all due respect, I don't care if you get a bid from anyone else. I only want to go Real Madrid. Club's hands are tied, and if Real Madrid aren't bidding, and Trent's still saying I want to go Real Madrid, then nothing you can do.
See, I think they should take back to control there, though. And for me, in terms of, I don't like player power taking over, and that is Real Madrid controlling the narrative. And as a Liverpool fan, as Liverpool owner, I wouldn't accept that personally.
It's also our fault though, because the moment Trent and Virgil were made captain and vice captain, that's when you give them new contracts. Because that shuts everything off. You give them new contracts then, and then the conversation's over. And then this season, all we would have had to focus on is Mo Salah. If you'd given Virgil a 2-year contract when he was made captain and Trent another 5 years, we're sitting here laughing, going, we just have to sort out Salah's contract. And then Salah gets the bag and we're good again. But we as a club historically have let players' contracts run down.
This isn't the first time. Yeah, this isn't the first time. So, yeah.
So if we don't learn from this, and look, bro,
Konate
took the words out of my mouth. Konate and Diaz, same boat right now. So I mean, something's got to give this summer, because again, if Konate sits there and goes, "I'm not happy with my contract," and we get to the end of July, and they're saying we're only going to go up to a certain amount, and Konate said, "Well, I'm not dropping below this amount," and they can't meet in the middle. I hate to say it, I love Konate. I think he's
gotta let him go. Yeah.
We've got to sell him. We can't just
we can't let him go for free again. No, can't.
Can't do it.
And that so again,
this is on us. We can't just keep. The moment a player gets into the last 2 years of their contract, get to the table, start negotiating, get it wrapped up.
And all you saw last year was like, oh, well, Klopp left, so it feels bad. This should have been done before Klopp even announced people going. It should have been done ages ago.
Schmack was there for a whole summer.
It's just avoiding the blame of everything, and then they'll say now, "Oh, the club's doing all they can." No, it's not the club that has done all they can. It's Richard Hughes and Mac Lebbers has done all they can in the last few weeks and the last few months. They've been given a shit show to sort out, and it wasn't their fault. They got given it with a year left on all 3 contracts.
Yeah,
within half the year, they were able to talk to other clubs for free. That's not Mac Lebbers and Richard Hughes. They were put in that situation, and when you say the club's done all it can, no. Those sporting directors have done all they can. The club itself, higher up, FSG and everyone else, they've done fuck all for the last 2-3 years on it. So they haven't done all they can.
I agree absolutely with what you just said, but I will say that I think Hughes could have dealt with things a bit quicker than what he has.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. I think he can do his job well.
For me, the jury's still out. I need to see what happens this summer, because look, we bought in Chiesa and it really doesn't seem like the manager wants Chiesa at the club at all. So
no.
I need to see what happens in the summer. If we go and do what we need to do in the summer, and then if we go and do what we need to do in the summer, then I take back what I've said about Richard Hughes. But as of right now, I still don't know I don't trust him yet.
I'm always gonna think like I'm always hopeful that they're gonna do well, but I always know that the budget that they're gonna get is not good enough.
We've been
and it hasn't been. In fact, Mark Edwards, look what he did with Coutinho money.
Yeah.
But we don't have a Coutinho sell. In fact, we just let our Coutinho go for free.
You say that, though. Kelleher will fetch some money. Tsimikas, I think, will go and fetch some money. There's talks now that Gomez and Kwanzaa might go. One of those two, in my opinion, will go and fetch some money. Endo, I think, will leave and will fetch some money for him. There's talks that Elliott's going to go. There's talks of Chiesa going, Nunes, Diaz, potentially Jota. That's 10 players. You've still got Ben Doak there. You've still got players, the younger players who are out on loan. We should be able to spend a very healthy amount of money this summer to put us in a position where we don't have to spend crazy amounts next summer or even be chasing our tails. It's just we've been here before and I don't know what's going to happen.
I like every time the reports of big summer. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It actually makes me laugh. I don't know how they have the cheek to keep printing the same reports out every single year.
Yeah, because fans fall for it every single year. That's why they do it.
Not all of us. It's just the ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, who do you want to come in for Trent? How many I see it? I think with Trent, I've already said this. I did again another stream on it. How I would replace Trent is just a normal right back coming in to competition for Bradley, and then you replace his abilities in midfield. Replaces be able to control games and his passing abilities in midfield. There's no other right back in the world like that can control a game.
Exactly.
So you're not going to replace that his abilities at that position. You've got to do it in midfield. And again, they're talking about not bringing the midfielder in, and it's not seen as a priority. Again, I'm bored. I'm actually bored of it. Mate.
Yeah.
There's no way that midfield can't be a priority this summer. Yeah. Striker, left back, and then midfield for me.
Yeah, completely agree. So for me, I'm like you. I'd like to go for someone who's a bit more defensive minded at right back. And the reason I say that is because I think Connor Bradley and Robbo, even though Robbo's not the guy he used to be, they're both more attack minded, marauding fullbacks. I want us to be able to have an alternative. So say, for example, we come up against the Barcelona. They've got Yamal on one side, they've got Rafinha on another. I don't want it to. I'd like someone like an Olaena or Jed Spence, who's got the ability to lock up a winger. And then in games where we're going to be on the offense, like let's say one of the promoted teams, then you go Connor Bradley and Robbo until Robbo's contract finishes, and then you get another attack-minded left back. So for me, I know it's not a glamorous name. I think Vanderson from Monaco is very good, but I reckon he ends up in Barcelona. If Barcelona are willing to sell Koundé, I think Koundé could be a good player. Otherwise, Olaena on a free, if not in a Forest, don't.
I think they've triggered it. I think they've triggered it. I think I read yesterday they triggered it. Yeah,
if that's
the extension. Yeah.
If not, then Jed Spence.
Yeah, we don't want a Frimpong. We don't want a Frimpong.
No, I don't want Frimpong.
He's more attacking than Trent. We're going to have more gaps.
And he's worse defensively as well. He's worse defensively than Trent.
Good afternoon, Damon and Callum and chat. I trust you all as well. Blessed greetings and respect. Your expertise and extensive knowledge of Liverpool FC are highly valued. Thank you so much. You'll never welcome. We'll always try to keep it real on here. That's one thing that we'll always do. Before you go though, Callum.
Yes, bro.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch Trent go for free this summer. How much do you think, if we were to sell him 2 years ago, how much do you think would have got back? How much have we lost out on, do you reckon, with Trent?
Given that he's a right back, I think that would always put a ceiling on how much we could have sold him for. I reckon we could have got 80 mil for him.
That's tough, isn't it? And when a club prides itself on sell to buy, this fight makes zero sense.
All right, you say that though. When was the last time we were sell to buy, bro? Because all that's been happening. We've been letting players go on a free and then having to buy. So we're not even sell to buy. And if we are, we're not doing it very well.
Then again, actually, I think with Nunes, when we bought Nunes, most of that was paid through a lot of sales. It's normally through sales collectively. Yeah. But we only got away with it once in terms of Coutinho. The only time it's probably worth sell to buy is probably Coutinho, if I'm absolutely honest.
Yeah. Overall, yeah.
And then we're going to end up losing at some point Alisson and Van Dijk, the ones that got out of the Coutinho money, and we just don't have Coutinho. So I'm just hoping this summer we do back Slot, because I'm not even falling into it. I'm not even getting excited about it. They've got a second chance to build again on success. And whether they do or not, it's up to them. Yeah. And I think I just know this fan base. They're gonna if we don't do enough in the summer, I know they're gonna get away with it because we just won a league.
Yeah,
but they can't use that excuse anymore. Slot's proven now he can go for multiple titles or multiple trophies at least.
Yeah.
If he is backed. And again, you've just seen the summer. Chiesa was the only one he wanted, and that's he don't want him. Is that a sign of things to come this summer? Is they going to buy players?
So I actually think Slot might have played a bit of a master stroke with this one. Now, Chiesa unfortunately has been the person who has suffered from this. For me, it seems evident that Slot didn't necessarily want Chiesa, but it was an opportunistic signing as we were fed the line last summer. I think Slot's gone, I didn't want him. I'm barely going to play him. Where Slot's got power now is because he's just won the league with Klopp's team. So he can turn around and go, look, I know you wanted Chiesa. I didn't. Let's meet at the table again. And if I don't want a player, please don't sign that player. Sign players that we all agree on, including myself, and I'll get the best out of said players.
I think he's like uses Chiesa as like an example.
I feel like he has, which isn't
Mm.
fair. It's not fair to Chiesa. And what
No, it's not. No, yeah.
is I actually think Chiesa could have been really helpful throughout the season. Like those games against PSG, or the second leg against PSG, for example, when he brings on Gakpo instead of Chiesa, Gakpo wasn't even fit. Get Chiesa on the pitch. The Newcastle game, get Chiesa on the pitch earlier. You could have done things throughout the season, which would, in my opinion, have made things easier. And again, he's cut off his nose to spite his face almost. But at the end of the day, he's the one laughing loudest because he's delivered.
In the league. Yeah. If we didn't win the league, then he'd have had some big questions to be asked.
Yeah.
Whether he'd asked those questions, because I know what press conferences are like. They don't ask him the hard questions sometimes.
Well, can I ask you a question, bro? What would you do with the front line? Because I actually think the front line needs a bit of surgery, if I'm going to be honest. But I don't think we can do it all in one summer. So for me, before I even ask you the question, get your answer. It doesn't look like we're going to, but I'd keep Elliott as Salah's backup right winger, because I don't think you can go out and convince someone to come in and deputise for Salah when he just signed a new contract. So that's the first thing. And I think Elliott would be happy enough to sit down and wait for his chances and come on, because he's a Liverpool fan and he's still young. The left wing, Gakpo's good, but I think he's still ghosting games sometimes. And I think we need a tricky winger so we can have players not double up on Mo as much. And then centre forward, I think it speaks for itself. Jota and Núñez just aren't at it. Diaz is the anomaly here, because for me personally, I would now keep Diaz and I'd have Diaz be the utility man across the front three, so he can play left, right, and centre. I'd go out and try and get a striker, and I'd also try and get a tricky left winger. I don't know if you'd agree with that. So I'd only actually sign 2 players, but I'll just readjust how some of the players are playing.
I think the PSG game highlighted how good of a winger you need.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Diaz and Gakpo. Gakpo's brilliant in his own way. Diaz is brilliant. Diaz is just a purple patch player. When he is brilliant, he's on it. He's brilliant, but he doesn't do it enough. He doesn't do it enough. When we saw Kelly on the ball and Dembele on the ball, it's different level.
Doué as well.
And Doué on the ball. And that guy's a backup. And it's different level for me. And Slot said it at the press conference. Look, when you want to play for Liverpool, you got to be Salah level.
Yeah.
But it's such a big step behind from Salah to Diaz and Gakpo. Yeah. But then again, because we need such a priority striker and left back CDM, then I sort of tend to not look at a left winger. I think with Diaz, I've always been consistent with Diaz. I'm happy if he stays. I'm happy if he goes and gets replaced by a better winger. It's just one of them. It doesn't really bother me what happens, because I think he's good enough to be there, especially rotating with Gakpo. The striker position, I said it before, our main target right now in terms of being rumoured is Ekitike. I don't think that's good enough bringing in to replace Núñez alongside Jota. He'd have to come in with another striker because of Jota.
Yeah.
Usually Jota is unbelievable when he does play, and it makes up for his lack of availability. This season he hasn't done that.
What do you think of the Julian Alvarez rumours?
If we could use Núñez as part of the deal, I like it, I like Alvarez. I liked Alvarez when he went to City.
I'm surprised
he got rid of him.
If we got Alvarez, I'd be over the moon. But I don't think he's that killer in front of goal that everyone thinks he is. Or that
he could play across the front for you. So, he's not a bagsman. He's not an Isaac.
I don't know if I want a versatile player now. I think I just want a specialist. I think I just want a specialist striker.
I'm just focused on Isaac, maybe.
I'm
focused on Isaac. He's literally the dream.
He's not going anywhere.
But we need someone like that. We haven't had anyone like that since Sturridge.
Yeah.
We haven't had anyone like that since Sturridge. Gakpo and Diaz have been better this season, but they're not in the Mane league for me, and that's what we need in the squad. I mean, that's why I always compared to players in the past as well. It's hard to compare to Mane. Mane was unbelievable.
Because Mane was, in my opinion, when in his peak, at worst, he was the 3rd best left winger in world football. Is it fair to actually compare Diaz and Gakpo to Mane? Because I just don't know if we'll get another Mane. If we do, it won't be this. It might not even be for the next 5-10 years.
It's a bit like comparing Henderson to Gerrard, isn't it?
Yeah, or even like comparing one of our wingers to Barnes. Look how long it took to get another Barnes-esque winger in Mane. It took the best part of 30 years almost.
That actually reminds me of, when people say, "Oh, we'll survive when they've left." I don't get that thing because it's like, oh, we'll survive if Trent goes, we'll survive if Suarez goes, or whatever. Sometimes you do, but sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't work like that all the time. Like we went 30 years without a league. How do we survive without replacing Dalglish? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't always survive. He turned down every. Oh, I'll get that back up. Sorry, he turned down every contract. Oh, is it coming up? That there we go. He turned down every contract off. Simple as that. But what time do we offer contracts? That's the thing with us.
Yeah.
The club has to take some sort of little bit of responsibility for this. Trent's the ultimate one that's the decision. He's turned down the contracts.
Yeah.
But at what point did we make those contract deals? We didn't start doing anything until Richard Hughes and Nedved was coming in. To me, that was too late.
Yeah.
And we let Salah and Van Dijk pretty much go in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Of their contracts, last month or so of their contracts. They'll get away with it again. They'll get away with it again because they have done it and they have sorted. And they're the ones that we wanted sorting.
Yeah.
But this negligence and this reactiveness, rather than being proactive, needs to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to end up standing still again, and we stood still once before, and I won't allow it to happen again. And me and Callum, I think we're both agreed on this.
We do.
We're probably
this.
Not expecting it to happen, but we're not getting excited for it not to happen.
Until it happens, I can't. I've been here before, bro. Like, I've seen this story before.
When you burn your fingers, you don't put your fingers back in the fire. You don't do it.
You don't
do it. And people have to jump in the fire. I think people have to jump in the fire.
Yeah. No, not yet.
I think there's a lot of people that are happy to die on the sword, and they fought for FSG.
If FSG go out and do what they need to do in the summer, or what we'd like them to do, then there'll be no criticism from me. But if they don't,
same me. Yeah. Praise only.
I've got to keep that same energy, man.
Exactly.
Same energy.
Yeah. But again, if they don't, then the others have got to keep the same energy. But we know that they won't. That's the thing. That's the thing. They won't, and that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off the most, because then I saw something the other day about apologising to FSG. If they do have a good summer, will you apologise for the past? No, I'm not apologising for what they're the ones that didn't back Klopp. Why would I apologise for that? I'll praise them for a good summer. They're finally doing what I've asked them to do. I won't apologise for what they've done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's if they do backstop this summer, though, Klopp will be fucking.
We'll be laughing if he gets back. We'll be laughing.
Klopp's face, imagine. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you do smash those likes, get your comments in, and also subscribe to the channel. And make sure you go over to Coppish, because Coppish is, for me, the best channel around. And that's not putting my channel down. It's never good. That is the standard I want to get my channel to. That is my standard of the content I do. So big up Callum, big up Coppish. Make sure you get across there, subscribe there. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a great day. And